everybody. Welcome to Sky Stage. We're going to get started in a minute here. Very excited. We have 3 of the 4 comedians that were set to perform in August at the August Comedy Night that got rained out are here. Our whole schedule of events coming up for the rest of our season through October are at skystagefrederick.com or fredericartscouncil.org. We fill them in on that calendar as well. The Frederick Arts Council has a GoFundMe for local artist support that's still running, and we'll put the link for that on the live stream. This is being live streamed, and it's also on the Arts Council website. You click on donate. There's a button for that. Enjoy the beverages on our patio bar. That also supports the Arts Council, and we will have one more comedy night, fourth Friday in October. So for tonight, I will take it away to your MC, Sandy Bernstein.
Hey guys, Sky Stage, give yourselves a round of applause for coming out tonight. Yeah, it turned out to be a beautiful night. I'm so glad. And because, like she said, last month it was rained out. So I'll get the little announcements out of the way. She already told you where the restrooms are, and we, of course, the patio bar. So I would ask that you please silence all of your electronic devices, put them on vibrate or stun. And then what you do with them after that is a purely personal matter. We have a great lineup of comedians for you tonight, and other than myself, none of them have ever been to Sky Stage before. Now, by a round of applause, how many people here have seen a comedy show at Sky Stage? Okay. All right, you're one of the regulars. Okay. Well, you might recognize some of the material from yours truly, but otherwise, it's going to be all new. So, listen, just to warm everybody up. How about this? Every time I say Sky Stage, I want y'all to applaud and scream and yell like your life depended on it, okay? Everybody, 1, 2, 3, Sky Stage! Let's try that one more time. 1, 2, 3, Sky Stage! All right, it sounds like you guys are ready. Oh, so it is so nice to do a live show. I've done a lot of comedy shows on Zoom. I don't know, has anybody ever seen a comedy show online by a round of applause? Okay. Yeah, they're not bad. I'm not complaining, but y'all know what Zoom bombers are? Almost like, yeah, it's these random dudes who crash the Zoom meeting and expose themselves. Although, unfortunately, the only Zoom bombers I've ever run into have been neo-Nazis shouting racist and anti-Semitic epithets. Now, I'd much rather have the first set of skinheads. People say comedians are brave, but when was the last time you heard us ask if we could go into a burning building? I mean, the most you'll hear us say is, who books that? Okay, that's a joke for my fellow comics, I guess. No, I mean, can you imagine a comedian hostage negotiator? Like, oh, I don't come to your job and bomb in front of you. Or what about this? Okay. Oh, help, there's a bomb. You're a comedian, you're brave, do something. Who, me? Just because I bomb on stage doesn't mean I know how to defuse one. Okay, now, in comedy, when you tell a joke and there's silence, that's like a bomb? Oh, well, what can I say? Swing and a miss. I was never any good at baseball. Yeah, I used to swing at balls all the time. But thanks to therapy and medication, I'm no longer violent toward men. But speaking of sports, how about that Tiger Woods? Now, okay, he didn't make the cut in last weekend's U.S. Open, but say what you will about his personal life, I'm just very impressed by his comeback. I mean, who thought he would still be playing professional golf at this point in his career? But one of the announcers said something kind of strange. He said, Tiger Woods is about to face a scary hole. And I thought, well, that's weird. Since when has Tiger Woods been intimidated by a hole? I mean, isn't that what got him into trouble in the first place? I mean, it's not like he's ever had a problem sinking his putts. You hear what I'm driving at, ladies? Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Okay. So, my husband had been after me for the longest time to get my DNA tested. He said, "You never know, you might have a little African in you." I was like, "That was last week." And he wasn't so little. No. Okay, he finally got me ancestry DNA for my birthday. And newsflash, I am 100% Eastern European. Yep. Just your typical domestic short-haired Jew. And yeah, give it up for me and my heritage. No, and the thing, I spent all that time, trying to fill up the tiny test tube with my saliva. I mean, I could have used a designated spitter or maybe topped it off with chicken soup. Test results would have been the same. Okay, well, listen, before I tank this show entirely, I want to bring up your first, or I should say your next comedian, because I am a comedian, more or less. But first, I want to get everybody back on board here. Everybody, Sky Stage! Okay, that's better. I feel like I brought you back from the dead. All right, well, listen, our next comedian, it is his first time here, and he is actually a Frederick native, and I believe he's even come to shows here because he looks very familiar to me. I want everybody to start clapping right now. Come on, start clapping. I want you to give a big Sky Stage welcome to John Cromartie! And I just mispronounced his name. Let me sanitize the microphone. Okay, now that I've succeeded in making things thoroughly awkward, you're up next. Everybody, give it up for John Carpenter. Okay. Okay.
Hi, thank you. I was told to stand on this X. Can you hear me? Yeah. Great. All right. Thank you. 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 Not you. Thank you. I just want to give a big thank you. Thank you for coming out, risking your lives. The country's on fire. At least half of it. The other half's underwater. It's just peachy in between otherwise, though, as far as I understand. I don't want to put her on the spot or anything, but I want to give a little shout out to my girlfriend who's here. I'm not going to look at her. I'm not going to point her out, but I want you all to give a big round of applause for her and then look for the girl who's embarrassed. You know it's not you. But anyway, yeah. This is a little strange. I'm used to moving while I do this, so this is sort of like maybe like a kung fu training dummy version of comedy. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. It's a weird time. It's getting a little weird out there. We were sitting at dinner before we came here. There was a protest down the street. There was a crazy street preacher telling us we were all going to hell next to us. It was a lot to take in. It's a lot to take in. It's a weird time to be paranoid right now. I feel pretty bad for stoners at the moment. Paranoia has changed too. It used to be paranoid if you thought that the government was watching your every move and they were listening to all your conversations. Now you're paranoid if you think that they care specifically about you. Because they are. I talked to a guy at a party. This is 100% true. I swear on my mother's grave. Mom, if you're watching this, it's just an expression. I talked to a guy at a party. He said, and this is true, mind you, he can't tell me where he works, but his email address, hint, hint, is at fbi.gov. 100% true. I said, so do you listen to everything? He's like, oh, yeah. Yeah, of course we do. And I said, so what's the deal? He said, well, as long as you're not a terrorist, it's fine. So I just want you all to take out your phones for a second and just say thank you for your service to the guy who's listening on the other end. Because they're there. You don't have to be paranoid. You don't have to worry. People have been worried about sort of the state of the country. We've been worried that we've been falling into authoritarianism and crazy stuff like that. But I don't think we need to worry. You don't need to fear, because we're there. So just relax and have a good time here. Thank you. Anyway, a little bit about myself. I've got a little dog. He's a rescue. You're supposed to cheer for that. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm supposed to make a list of the line. Anyway, from an ex, specifically. Yeah, it was okay. She had a dog, and the dog bit the neighbor, and she needed to give up the dog. And I said, I'll watch him while you find a new home for him. But then it didn't work out, and we broke up. And I said to her, look, if you want to see this little dog again, just let me know. It's fine. We're on good terms. It's cool. Anyway, let's see. Yeah. Thank you all again for coming out. This is my go-to when I'm feeling weird. Yeah, anyway. Anybody worried about the turtles? Are we still worried about the turtles? Yeah? Okay. Yeah, I had a coworker. He said he was worried about the turtles. He was worried about the straws. He didn't want straws getting in the turtles' noses. And it's a big problem, right? So he went to Amazon and he ordered a 3-pack of silicone straws. And he ordered about 4 of these. And he got them. And he sampled them to see which ones he liked. And then he sent them back on a diesel truck hundreds of miles to a warehouse where they're going to be thrown away. I'll tell you what, if you're worried that you're part of the problem, you're not a part of the problem. Just stop right there. Scientists look into this. We had scientists say, what's going on with the turtles? Can we figure out where these straws are coming from? They looked at it, and they found out that it's from people who throw the straws on the ground or in the water where the turtles are. That's it. If you put your straws in the trash, you're probably doing pretty well. They go in a bag, they go in a truck, they go to the landfill. I would remind you, they're called sea turtles. They're not called landfill turtles. This is very simple. If we invented these straws today, they would be on the shelf at CVS, okay? They wouldn't be in every restaurant. They'd be next to the thing that helps your grandma grab stuff off the high shelf. They'd be next to the machine that helps you put your socks on, and there'd be straws for people who can't go like this. I have a lot of sympathy for people who can't go like this, but I think we would agree a lot of people can go like this. This is not a problem that we need to have. Anyway, my daughter is turning 10. Well, she already turned 10. But it's the age where people stop saying, that's a fun age. I haven't heard that in a while because it's true. It's not a fun age. It's not going to be a fun age. It's the age where there's a lot of stuff coming. It's going to be a hard time. It's going to be a tumultuous, chaotic time for the next few years. And that time is called middle school or puberty jail. We could have had evenly divided our 12 years of compulsory age-based schooling, but we decided these 3 years, we need to just bottle them up a little bit. I don't know if anybody else has been to a middle school, but you probably no longer fear hell. I had a bad time in middle school personally. I got suspended 8 times in middle school for fighting, and I only punched a guy once. That's a bad record. It's not a good record. I think the problem was them, not me. I don't know. I don't know what happened. They had what's called a zero tolerance policy. Middle school really helped prepare me for the real world. They taught me that people in charge have no judgment or authority or real thinking ability whatsoever. I would try to make my appeals. I'm saying, hey, look, they pushed me down a hill. Why are you suspending me? And they said, well, it's a zero tolerance policy. We just have to do it. Anybody who's involved gets the same punishment. And then the next time, hey, the guy shoved me into a locker. Why are you suspending me? I said, well, it's a zero tolerance policy. After the 7th time or whatever, my dad said, why don't you just hit them? I said, you know what, that's a great idea. And that was the last time. So, anyway. Yeah. My daughter, she's still learning how, words work. I'm not sure where she is in her psychological development, but we were having an argument the other day. She spilled a bottle of soda, and I said, you have to clean it up. And she said, I am cleaning it up. And I said, you just have to get a towel. And she got the wrong towel. And I said, get a more absorbent towel. And she says, I'm doing it right now. I said, you have to calm down. You have to stop yelling. She said, I'm not yelling. I said, okay, if we don't agree on the basic definition of things, we're not going to get anywhere. But, she says some funny things. We'd sit down for dinner, and we'll look at dinner, and she'll say, "What's in it?" And I say, "Well, it doesn't matter, frankly. Doesn't matter. That's what's in it." But I don't say that. I'm trying to be a good parent. I'm like, "Oh, it's tofu." She'll say, "I'm not the biggest fan of tofu," which is good, because if you're the biggest fan of tofu, that's probably a red flag. You probably live in a house made of tofu. I don't know. You probably wear a suit of tofu. If you're the biggest fan of anything, that's probably a big indicator that there's something not right there. But anyway, where are we going? You know what? We're all rusty here. We haven't done comedy like this in a while. Comedy's about evolution. Right now, these jokes are like that little fish with stumpy legs crawling out of the mud. They have not had a time to grow legs and learn how to walk yet. So I'm just going to check my notes. This is unprofessional. But yeah, anybody making sourdough? Yes. All right. You can be louder. It's okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I feel like whoever made sourdough first, I don't know if it was what came first, beer or sourdough, but somebody messed up a recipe. That's what happened there. They were like, was it supposed to be a gallon? Or I don't know. Either way, it turned out fine. I don't know what happened during this whole quarantine thing. It was like a signal went out and everybody just was activated. We had nothing to do, and it was like the one thing that bound us all together as white people. I don't know. We just felt the call, as if a million yeast packets suddenly disappeared off the shelves. But yeah, I don't know. It's a weird time out there. If we have to be honest, we're all kind of learning to adjust to new things. This is the new normal. I don't know what the old normal was. I think we just had yeah. I don't know where that one's going. I'm gonna just bail out right now. Thank you. Yeah. Are you taking care of yourself? I have another thing I saw on social media. I saw like an Instagram post where someone said, if you take your mask, you have a disposable mask, you should cut the straps. Have you seen this? Anyone? Yes, you should cut the straps because you don't want wildlife getting tangled in the straps. Now, I have a feeling that this is related to the straw problem. Okay? Because the people who are taking their masks and throwing them on the ground are a different audience completely from the ones that will cut the straps. I don't know anybody who thinks they're done with this mask. Let me just cut it. All right. No worries. Anyway, thank you. I'm John Cromartie. Good night.
Everybody give it up for John Cromartie. And I still mispronounced his name. Let me grab a wipe here. Sure. I'll just stall for a moment. Just for a minute while I sanitize this microphone. Yeah, so Harris Teeter has been a lot more active on social media lately. You can find him on Twitter at Harris Tweeter. Okay, come on, guys. I haven't heard that much groaning since my days in the adult film industry. Yeah, I was in a Prince parody called Purple Vein. Anyway, enough of that. I want to bring up your next comedian. But in the meantime, are you having a good time here at Sky Stage? Okay, great. Well, our next comic, I have done so many shows with her. You're going to love her. She is hilarious. Everybody, start clapping now and give a great big Sky Stage welcome to Lauren Smith.
What I just... That was professional, right? All right, let's see if I can put this back together now. All right, can you hear me? Yeah. Woo! All right. Yeah, I was trying to set up while John was up here, and then I suddenly realized that the camera was going to be focused about there. That was not going to work at all. All right, guys, so are you excited to be out? Yes. Yes. Okay, can I just tell you guys that I have been quarantining manless since March? Okay, someone else feels it. So can I just say that I am so excited to be in this room on this show with all these handsome men in this room. Guys, I just got to tell you, I want you to give it up for yourselves. Can you do that? Where are my guys at? Let me hear you. All right. And now that I have shamelessly pandered to you, I'm going to talk about makeup. See, in the before time, before I would invest in makeup, and yes, I used the word invest. Do y'all know that the average woman spends $3,756 a year on makeup? Yeah. That is enough to lease a Honda Accord. Which I guess is kind of fitting, since I am hoping someone wants to give me a ride. Yeah. So back in the before time, I used to test drive at Sephora. Anyone else? Sephora? Okay, yeah. I can't decide if I miss that or the Trader Joe's samples most. Sephora, I think I miss you most of all. All right, how many of y'all actually are old enough to catch that Judy Garland reference? Scarecrow instead of Sephora? Okay, clap if you got it. Okay, all four of you. Okay. There's this movie called The Wizard of Oz for the rest of you. Anyway, speaking of movies, all the celebs wore this lipstick called Pillow Talk to the award show this year. Now, it has been a really long time since there's been anyone to talk to on my pillow. If I had known COVID was going to happen, I would have been so much naughtier last winter. Anyone else? All right, nobody else is admitting there. They're like, women, if you want to go up and tell everyone you're slutty, that's fine, but we are much better behaved. All right, anyway, I thought the lipstick might help. Here's the thing, though. It was $36. With shipping, that is $40 for one product. Now, to put this into perspective, I am currently wearing 11 different products on my face. Yeah, this is why gentlemen have to buy dinner. Yeah, there is no way that he is going to spend as much on me as I spent on looking like this. Not even if I order an appetizer and dessert. However, there was a $25 trial size on the website, so I put it in my cart. All right, we got any online shoppers here? Okay, come on. Thank you. Then you already know that I made a rookie mistake, am I right? Yeah, because I left it in my cart, and that was when the emails started. Bing! Spend $25 at Sephora and get a free gardenia, rose oil, and monkey spunk serum. And this is a PG-13 room, so I can't finish that joke. But the emails continued. But they got needy, guys. Dancing Post-it notes saying things like, Bing! You left me in your cart. Bing! Please, in all caps, please don't forget me. Bing! Don't you want me anymore? Sounded way too much like the messages I've been sending my ex. And when I ignored them the way he ignores mine, guys, it got scary. Bing! You're not hot enough for pillow talk anyway, you past-peak hussy. Bing! Who do you think you are? Bing! So Superstar Michelle Williams wore Pillow Talk to the Golden Globes this year. It's for her, not you. Michelle Williams, Michelle Williams. Bing! Michelle Williams, the girlfriend on Dawson's Creek, the wife from The Greatest Showman, the real life wife of the guy who OD'd himself and still got the Academy Award for Joker. Bing! Idiot. Wait a minute. Girlfriend, wife. Bing! You're just jealous because you can't keep a man long enough to be defined by him. Bing! Only hags have lives that pass the Bechdel test. Now, for those of you who do not know, the Bechdel test is a test of a work of art that asks whether it has two female characters who actually have names, who have a conversation with each other about something other than a man or a romantic relationship. Are we familiar? Okay. Yeah, so makeup tutorials would so count if Sephora didn't clearly need to have their consciousness raised. Bing! Yeah, Dawson would never do you, let alone Heath Ledger or Hugh Jackman. Heath Ledger wouldn't look at you no matter how many drugs he did. Okay, fair. Bing! Yeah, sweetheart, the best you're ever gonna do is some incel Comic-Con escapee and Joker face paint. Guys, who knew that Pillow Talk would be giving me nightmares? All right. Thank you. Here's the thing. I am 50 years old. Thank you. Yeah, that is a big number. Am I right? Yeah. And it is not what I thought it would be. I thought I would be much more mature by now. I still don't understand mahjong. And yeah, it's been really different. I thought I would have more money by now. I thought someone would love me by now. Oh, wait. Mic's still on? I thought I could work a microphone by now. But here's the thing. I also thought I would be so much uglier by now. Okay, there are a few people my age here. But for those of you who don't know, the only woman over the age of 25 who was on TV when I was growing up was on this TV show called Three's Company. We familiar? Do we remember Three's Company? Yeah. Okay, Mrs. Roper, right? So I am thinking that by this age, I'm going to have full-on helmet hair and muumuu by now. And I don't, which is good. And I am also thinking that I might have a Mr. Roper by now. Now, for those of you who remember the TV show, I don't, and that is also good. Because the last thing my self-esteem needs is some wormy little dude in a Hawaiian shirt who would rather spy on a 20-year-old bimbo than be with me. Especially since I have a 17-year-old daughter. And she and her friends are the girls that I was scared of in high school. We got any other parents here? All right, let me hear you. Okay. They say that Satan takes over your children when they become teenagers.
Yes, it's true.
Now, if you had never heard that before, you clearly don't have friends who have teenagers. However, I actually am going to disagree with this nice lady. It is not true. Children are gifts from God. All children are gifts from God. It's just a matter of which God. You know, mighty, smighty Old Testament God that sends the plagues and the locusts? Yeah, he sent the teenagers too. Yeah, the parents are nodding. Him or Shiva. All right, that's for me. I don't care if you laugh at it. Anyway, so returning to my daughter, She hates her friends too, as teenage girls will. Like, Miss, I'm going to pick on you. Blonde girl in the pink. What is the name of the girl that you hated in high school?
Gigi.
Gigi. There is always a Gigi, ladies and gentlemen. My daughter's is Jenna, spelled Gennah, of course, because they do not name kids normal stuff like Gigi anymore. Yeah, and we all fear Jenna. Last sleepover, I had to change the Wi-Fi password so she'd need me alive. Now, guys, I gotta admit to you, that is a complete and total lie. I am 50 years old. I don't know how to change a Wi-Fi password. However, there are parental controls on the TV. Are you proud of me? Woohoo! Really? That's the best you could do? All right, much better. Actually, though, you shouldn't be. My daughter put them there. Cost me $100 well, it used to cost me $100 at the mall if I wanted to watch an R-rated movie. These days, it's $150 at American Eagle online. You've heard of pandemic price gouging, am I right? And I have never seen Game of Thrones. She says it's too violent for me. But speaking of violence, you cannot blame kids today for being a little cranky. I mean, when I was growing up, school shooting meant hoops, not guns. And the other thing is that they do not make the great coming-of-age movies that we had anymore. Like, I am 50 years old, and I am older than the vast majority of this crowd. But I am willing to bet that almost all of you are still free riding on the coming-of-age movies from my time. I want you to give it up if you have seen and loved The Outsiders. Give it up means clap, by the way. All right, yeah. Breakfast Club. Classic. 16 Candles. Okay, you guys have not seen that one in a while. It is creepy. And the 80s really were like that. Being a straight girl was kind of like being an antelope hot for lions. But the good news is, times have changed in some good ways. I'm going to pick on my straight guys again. Don't be scared. Where are you at? Come on, let me hear you. All right. How many of you are woke enough to want your women awake? Clap, if that's a yes. Okay. I like the silence is scaring the rest of us. Let's go, guys. How about willing? Willing? Okay, yeah. Congratulations. You are way more evolved than the guys in 16 Candles. So give it up for that, all of us, please. Here's the thing, though. I'm going to help you with that. When you are with a woman, you need to put her on top. That way she can get off whenever she wants to. Am I right? Exactly. And now that we have solved date rape, we are going back to 80s movies. How many of you have seen and loved Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Now, guys, can we agree that they don't make those great coming-of-age movies anymore? They don't. And I have figured out why. Nobody expects today's kids to live to grow up. Too dark, or do you just own Smith & Wesson stock? But here's the thing, like, that's actually one of the few things good that has come out of the pandemic, because people don't have to be afraid of school shootings. Although that is something that I'm hoping the online school will end. Am I right, parents? Yeah, I'm hoping our kids will go back to school. Especially since we have a plan in the event of a shooting at my daughter's school. We do. You want to hear it? Yeah. Guys, she is hiding behind Jenna. All right, guys, I've been Lauren Smith. That's my time.
everybody, give it up one more time for Lauren Smith. Let's get this adjusted here. So, you guys having a good time here at Sky Stage? All right, well, you're in for a treat because this next comedian, we've shared the stage together numerous times, and he always cracks me up. Everybody, start clapping right now. Let's hear it. Let's hear it for the one and only Pat Paulson!
All right. How you doing, Frederick? Yeah, good, good. I have never been here before, I got to admit. Not this place, this town. Ever. It's kind of a small town, but it's kind of cool. There's a lot of stuff going on, you know? Like, I'm originally from a small town, and there's really nothing going on. There's nothing to do, unless you like to do heroin. Let me see if you've heard of this place. I'm from a place called Baltimore. Ohio. Yeah, see, half of you laughed, and the other half learned something. I didn't learn I was from a small town called Baltimore, Ohio, until I met kids from the next school district and found out they didn't get off for deer hunting. You gotta wait till the weekend? All the good ones are gonna be gone. No, I didn't hunt deer, but my neighbor did. And he always kind of humiliated me. He'd be like, oh, like, how many you get this year? And I'd be like, 0, of course, obviously. And then finally one day I did kill a deer. I was 19. I told him, I'm like, yeah, I got one. He's like, oh, what'd you use? Like a 30-06? And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm a 06 Nissan. My mom's pissed. Ultima's fucked now. Yeah. No, I am from a small town called Baltimore, Ohio that does have a big heroin problem. I didn't know this growing up. I learned about it in the most bougie way you can. I saw it on 60 Minutes. Having your town featured on 60 Minutes is like the white-collar version of having your town featured on Cops. Like, they're never, like, investigating a nice place. It's never like Old Town Alexandria, neighborly or charming? Question mark? It's always someplace like El Paso, crisis at the border? Question mark. Or Flint, lead in the water? Question mark. Or Baltimore, heroin in the heartland? No question mark. They didn't even give us any punctuation. They were so rude about that. They interviewed a bunch of people. Turns out that we have one of the best heroin rackets in the country. You can get it anytime, night or day. You just call a guy, 10 minutes, they deliver it to you. They had the mayor on there. He said that it was unbelievable, incredible, that we need to find the people doing this and put them in jail. And I'm with him most of the way. I think it's unbelievable. It's incredible. We need to find the people doing this and put them in charge of delivering everything else too. Because, like, look, we all love Amazon. But can they get you heroin in 10 minutes? Can they get you anything in 10 minutes? I don't think so. I don't think so. Like, I mean, I really think that, like, even if we did put these guys in jail, we can just get them together maybe for a pep talk. Be like, look, guys, great job with the heroin. Great job. Let's see what you can do with pizza. Because, look, like, we're not all heroin addicts. A lot of us are just regular alcoholics. Like, when I'm at my parents' house, I'm going to drink, all right? It might be 2, 3 in the morning. I might want some pizza. If you can get me that pizza in 10 minutes, I'll pay you the heroin prices. Like, this could really work out for everyone. I really do think so. Cool. Nice. You guys like to travel? Yeah? Everyone says yeah to that. I don't really. I mean, every time I travel, I kind of mess it up. I don't know. Like, every time I go to, like, a fun town, I'm like, it's too fun for me. Like, I went to New Orleans recently. It's too fun for me. Like, it's not for me. I went there, and the guy at the hotel was like, what are you going to do? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just going to walk around. He's like, you are going to get killed. He pulled out a map of the city, and he's like, you can go here. And I'm like, I live in D.C. I'm tough. He's like, okay, you can also go here. Not here. It's just too much fun. Like the laws are different and everything. Like, in most of the country, it's illegal to drink on the street. In New Orleans, it's illegal to not drink on the street. Like, you have to be drinking on the street. It's the rule, you know? I went there for my honeymoon. And if you ever get one chance to go to New Orleans, go there for your bachelor party instead. It's not a honeymoon town. It's not, like, at all. And we went there during the exact wrong time. Like, It was October, and what do you call them? You know those big like mosquito-y, like long, like daddy long legs mosquitoes? You know, they like buzz around sometimes. I think they're called mayflies. Anyway, it was mayfly mating season. So we got a deal, and we still got ripped off. Mayfly mating season, what happens is all the mayflies from America and certain parts of Mexico come to New Orleans and have an orgy in the sky. They mate until they die. And when they die, they fall on you. Like I was just getting drone strike, just constant, all the time. And that was what we did there. We went it the next day, and we're like, let's not go out at night because these mayflies are everywhere. Let's see what else is going on. I'll tell you what else was going on. Alabama was playing LSU, and everyone there was there for that except for us. And it was like, I don't know how to describe it. I mean, like, you know those like big red fat American, I think they're called rednecks. It was their mating season too. Yeah, it was crazy. Like, have you ever seen MTV Spring Break? It was like that, but like all the guys are named Skeeter, and like a lot of the girls are also named Skeeter. Yeah, real romantic. So that's traveling. Let me finish up with this one. Like a lot of sensitive young men, I was like, I hate my small town. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go as far away as I can. And you don't do that. Just go to the nearest big city. Like Cleveland's fine. There's a lot of stuff to do there. I overdid it. I went to China. I literally went to China. I talked to this career lady after I finished school, and she's like, what do you want to do? I'm like, I don't know. I just want to get out of Baltimore. And she's like, what's your major in? And I was like, history. And she's like, cool. You can just be a waiter anywhere, really. I mean, you can. You don't need the degree even. You could just go. No, I signed up to teach English in China because I was like, let's do something totally different. And it was too different. It was wildly different. Like, just the way people talk to you even is different. Like, Chinese people will just come up to you and like practice their English in like such strange ways. Like, I had a kid come up to me. He's like, you don't smell like milk. Like, real proud of himself too. He's like, hell yeah, I said that. Like, I was like, is there a rumor or something? Geez, I don't even like milk. Like, it turns out white people smell like milk, and they don't like it. Not me though. Not me. Yeah, it was cool. I lived in a town about an hour away from the capital, from Beijing. Taught us Chinese classes in the weekends or whatever. Didn't get a lot of pay, but it's kind of cool. Good place to hang out. I was supposed to like try to learn Chinese and teach English. And I didn't learn a lot of Chinese, but I also didn't teach much English, so kind of balanced out. The kids would always ask you questions, and like you have to answer them in a way they understand, because like they don't really speak English all that well. And like they would say, where are you from? And I'd be like, Ohio. And they'd be like, I don't know. What does that mean? And I would say, here, I'm from where LeBron is from, because they love basketball. And the smart kids here, my teacher's from where LeBron is from. I'm going to look that shit up. The dumb kids here, something LeBron, until they're dumber friends, my teacher knows LeBron James. Which meant kids are just giving me basketballs. Like, I'm not good at basketball. Like, I can beat a Chinese 6-year-old maybe, but like, terrible. No, it's a lot of fun. A lot of like, just the way even Americans would talk to you. Like, my roommate would come in and say something like, hey man, can I sit down on that couch? And I'd say, yeah man, go ahead, it's a free country. And he'd say, no, it's not. Come on, buddy. We're in China, man. I really felt like a dick sometimes though, because when I went over there, we're in this one apartment. It was kind of a rundown apartment, and I was like, oh man, this place is a dump. And the guy was like, no, the dump is actually next door. The next neighborhood was a dump. Like, people lived in it, and they went around all day getting like scrap metal and wires and stuff, and they sold it for 10 cents a kilo. And that made me feel like a real piece of shit, because I've thrown 10 cents out of my pocket into the trash because I didn't like the sound it made when it touched my other 10 cents. I mean, that is some lazy American thinking right there. I mean, really, like Trump says, like, when Mexico sends people to America, they're not sending their best. When America sends people to China, we're not sending our best. We're not sending our best. I mean, Seriously, like it was almost too easy to get drunk there. Like if you're the kind of guy who enjoys a beer, don't go to China. If you're the kind of guy who enjoys 40 beers for the price of almost free, that's your place. Seriously, it was great. Until you had to get home. Because I don't know if you've ever tried to drunkenly direct a taxi driver in a language you don't really speak, but it's tough. Like I forget which one is left and which one is right. And I also forget whether we should go left or right. And like, I know I live on Liberation Street, but I forget that too. And so I'm trying to tell the guy where to go. And he's like just out in the middle of nowhere. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, where am I? Like, I gotta solve this problem. Let's think your way out of this. All right. You're about an hour away from the Capitol. Everything's run down. The economy is based on scrap metal. You are in Chinese Baltimore. They tricked me. They totally tricked me. All right. Thank you very much.
Everybody give it up one more time for Pat Paulson. Okay, I have one of these microphone condoms of my own. It's ribbed for my pleasure, but more about that later. Let me just untangle this. I've resisted the urge to grab the microphone until now, but I can't help myself. Okay, so I just remembered that I never really properly introduced myself. My name is Sandy Bernstein, and my claim to fame is I was on an Amazon show called Comics Watching Comics.
Wow.
Thank you. You know, guys, that's very kind of you, but they really should have called it Comics Roasting Comics. Yeah, the nicest thing they had to say about me was that they didn't think it was possible to have baggy jeans and camel toe at the same time. Yeah, those jerks. Oh, man, I'll tell you. Oh, so, anyhow, you know, you might be looking at me thinking, what's my aunt doing here? Well, I'm like that cool aunt, you know, the one who smokes a blunt with you and treats you to lunch at Panera. Oh, I'm just kidding. I would never pay for lunch. Now, my nieces and nephews call me Auntie HC, but they know better than to call me asking for money, because I'm usually the one hitting them up. Yeah, and THC needs cash for weed. So I am very uncoordinated. I tried doing a Zumba class online, and I was flailing my arms around so much that my Apple Watch thought I was having a seizure and called an ambulance. I mean, how do you think I got the medical marijuana card? No, but honestly, I can't take all the smoke. I mean, I'm already forgetful and paranoid and hungry all the time. I don't smoke weed. Not when they're edibles. Oh, so I had a birthday back in May. I should have been a June baby, but I arrived a couple weeks early. Now, my mom thought she was having gas pains, but instead, she had a little shit. I didn't have any hair for the first 2 years. My mom used to have to tie a pink ribbon around my head to prove to people that I was a girl. My grandfather nicknamed me the baby Khrushchev. This was during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Now, in his defense, I did like to pound my shoe on the table. Now, okay, unless you're a baby boomer or a history buff, you have no idea what I'm talking about. So do yourselves a favor after the show and Google it. But no, anyway, so I did turn 59, so give it up for me. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm not doing bad for 59, you know. But I'll tell you, though, it's been about at least 10 years since I started going through menopause. And, yeah, you know, ever since that whole thing started, I have been unable to put on a sweater because I am one. I mean, you know, I don't miss getting my period, though. I mean, that was like an unwelcome house guest who went through my drawers and cramped my style. But you know something? In my day job, I am an editor, so I still do have to worry about missing periods. Oh, I know. That was another groaner. You're giving me flashbacks to the adult film industry. Let me see. I was also in Terms of Endearment, Saving Ryan's Privates, and I was Horny Cougar number 7 in The Loin King. But I digress. No, I was talking about punctuation and stuff. You know, I don't like ending sentences with exclamation points. I prefer a more nuanced approach, like writing in all caps. But anyway, getting back to whatever it was I was talking about. Oh, yeah, when I hear young women talking about freezing their eggs, I envision mine as hard-boiled with a green ring around the yolk. Oh, what, too soon? More like too late. Now that I'm 59, I feel like I'm really out of it. Like the last time I was in a restaurant and the waiter mentioned Cash App, I thought he was saying ketchup. Yeah, because I left my Miracle Ear at home. So after making him repeat himself 5 or 6 times, I finally understood. I'm like, oh, you're talking about those little bowls of spiced cashews on the table. They're like an appetizer. I get it, a Cash App. How clever. So now I got to worry about old people diseases. I was in denial about having shingles until the roofer showed up and started nailing them to my ass. Oh, so this past week, I shared the house with my husband and a blackberry pie, and I managed not to kill off either one. Now, Weight Watchers would call that a non-scale victory. The Lifetime channel, to be continued. But no, I am a Lifetime Weight Watcher. I lost 55 pounds on the program, so give it up for me. Thank you. I still even go to meetings, but one of my pet peeves is when I hear somebody say, I shared a dessert with the other 5 people at my table, and I was satisfied after just one bite. Really? For me, claiming to be satisfied after just one bite is like saying, just the tip is enough. And I'm not talking about the Cash App waiter. Or am I? Guys, there is another man in my life besides my husband and the Cash App waiter. His name is Cherry Garcia. I'm telling you, man, it all happened so quickly. I mean, 1 minute, I'm in bed with my sleeping husband, and the next thing I know, I'm in the kitchen devouring Cherry Garcia. I mean, here I am having a menage a trois with Ben and Jerry, just going to town, but as soon as the spooning stopped, I was left with guilt and shame and a closet full of clothes I'll never fit into. So I crept back upstairs and I tried to slip into bed, but my husband was awake and feeling frisky. He said, Mr. Peanut requires your attention. And I was like, ugh, just what I need on top of Cherry Garcia. Nuts. And here, all I wanted was Ben and Jerry's chubby hubby. Not my hubby's chubby. Oh, so this is my second marriage. Surprise. No, I am divorced. Now, my first husband, Tom, I used to love his sense of humor until he wore one of those ribbed for her pleasure condoms inside out because why should Sandy have all the fun? He also thought it was funny to grab my boss's ass during the company picnic. Yeah, and Mr. Kurt wasn't even cute. I mean, here I'd ask Tom to come out to the picnic, not at the picnic. I mean, he got a raise and I got fired. But I had the last laugh because I quit the marriage. And years later, I remarried another man named Tom. Yeah, only this one is not a turkey, and I am not the butt of his jokes. And I'll tell you something, there is an advantage to having 2 husbands named Tom. Okay, I mean, some of you are tracking with me here, because I don't have to worry about yelling out the wrong name during sex. But I'll tell you what, it has confused the hell out of my friends. Now, they're all big fans of the Terminator movies, with Arnold Schwarzenegger. So get this. They started calling my ex-husband T1 and my current husband T2. And one of them says to me, "Oh, Sandy, if this doesn't work out with T2, is there going to be a T3? I'm like, hell no, there's not going to be a T3. If there's a T3, it'll be T3 Rise of the Machines. Getting back to T2. Right before our wedding, my cat Hannah died, and we had her cremated. But I forgot to cancel the pet sitter. So she called us on our wedding day, frantically searching for Hannah. So I told her, Hannah's in a better place now. Have you checked the mantle? What, too dark? Okay, I'll just go back to talking about sex then. No, okay. T2 is a lot more secure than T1, okay? I mean, he's one of the least jealous men that I know, right? I mean, I could be screwing someone right next to him, and he'd just be annoyed. He'd be like, "Would you mind not shaking the bed? I'm trying to finish this crossword puzzle. And for once, I'd like to finish first." Yeah, well, all ribbing aside, I love being intimate with T2, but I would love it more if it wasn't at halftime during football season. I feel like I'm being penalized. I mean, how many wieners does he expect me to hold at once? Oh, man, okay. Let me just change tracks entirely. I'll talk about work. TGIF, right? It's Friday, right? Can we hear it for Friday? Yeah, so, I mean, work can be a nightmare. I mean, backstabbing bosses, conniving colleagues, not being allowed to smoke crack in the stairwell. But, okay. But my biggest nightmare is falling asleep. Like, once I nodded out at my desk and I spilled coffee all over the power strip, shorted out all the lights. Okay? Now, I didn't want them to know it was me. It was pitch black, so I got on my hands and knees and crawled over to the supply closet to get a new power strip. I felt like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. But when the lights came back on and I saw that I was trying to plug my computer into the 3-hole punch, I felt more like Peter Sellers in Pink Panther. So later, I fell asleep in the ladies' room on the toilet, and I was awakened by somebody saying, "Smells like burnt coffee in here." Well, I was late for my meeting, right? So I flushed the toilet, washed my hands, and I sprinted to the conference room. And I was wearing my full-length mask. I painted eyes on it, so people wouldn't be able to tell if I was asleep. And I thought I was going to get away with it, right? Except that I did fall asleep in the meeting, and I happened to have a nightmare, okay? I dreamt I was late for a meeting because I fell asleep on the toilet. So I reached back to flush, and a woman screamed. And that's when I woke up in the middle of the conference room, in the middle of the meeting, with my boss's breast in my hand. And all I could think of to say was, "No lumps. Now you can check me." Better yet, let's all check each other. Okay, Ron, turn your head and cough. Okay, well, I'm glad you guys are chuckling. They were not amused. But listen, guys, I want to tell you about dating, okay? Now, I am glad that I'm married, even though I sort of ribbed my husband about various things because, I feel as though women my age are at a definite disadvantage when it comes to dating, okay? I mean, younger women, they have to worry about getting unsolicited pictures of men's body parts, okay? We have to worry about getting unsolicited pictures of their ancestors they want to fix us up with. Okay, I mean, younger women have to worry about their men having too much to drink and being able to see the road clearly enough. We have to worry about our dates being able to see well enough to drive. I mean, I used to hate it when my dates would roll up in a Metro Access van. Yeah, that meant our dates had to be over by 9:30, otherwise we'd be stranded. I mean, you have no idea how frustrating it is to be stuck out on the corner with some half-blind old man with medical issues who can't even summon an Uber on his jitterbug telephone. I mean, when you're dating at my age, a lot of men are looking for a nurse. I was just looking for someone to fill my purse. Okay? I mean, geez, I wasn't holding out for somebody to take my breath away. I was just happy if somebody was still breathing. I mean, the only thing hard on these guys is their hearing or possibly their stool. I mean, I didn't even Netflix and chill because I was afraid they'd fall asleep for the last time. Yeah, it is not romantic if a man freezes up on you because rigor mortis is setting in. I don't care how hard he gets. I mean, they think hooking up is a visit to dialysis. I mean, and say if you actually do hook up, you better hope it's on 500 thread count Egyptian sheets, because otherwise, if you do it doggy style, his nuts and your nipples are going to get rug burn. You know, young people have a lot of dating apps. We have our time. But after looking at some of the profile pictures, I'm convinced it should be called out of time. Really, I mean, you know something's up when the year's 2020 and you're seeing black and white photos from the 1950s and the men are all looking like Elvis Presley or Frank Sinatra. I'm not a fan of that. You know, I once went out with a man who said he enjoyed long walks in the park, so I met him there. He showed up in a wheelchair expecting me to push him. I said, I didn't come here to push Grandpa, I came here to walk. He told me he was financially stable. Well, most wealthy older gentlemen I know have motorized wheelchairs. I was so pissed. I wanted to push his ass into rush hour traffic. See him take a walk out of that. But no, I mean, you know, you just got to read between the lines on these dating apps. I mean, if they tell you that they're financially secure, it means they're collecting Social Security. I mean, if they tell you that they're physically active, could just mean they're ambulatory. I mean, if they tell you they're into heavy metal, either they've had a hip replacement or their wheelchair weighs a lot. And if they tell you they have their own transportation, well, that heavy-ass wheelchair is motorized. I mean, half these guys won't even tell you that they're married because they can't remember if they're married. I mean, they used to call me by every name except my own. I mean, I really didn't care what they called me as long as it wasn't to pick up the check. But, I mean, look, I mean, we have our issues. I mean, the only thing tight on us is our hip flexors. I mean, we buy our lubricant by the tub at Costco. I mean, because if we're getting wet down there, it's a bladder control issue, which is why I need to get out of here. Plus, the edibles are kicking in. So, listen, guys, I want to thank you so much for coming out tonight. Give yourselves a big round of applause. All right. And God willing and the creek don't rise, we will be back for comedy night the last Friday of the month next spring. And as was mentioned earlier, there are events still going on at Sky Stage, so keep an eye on the website. Everybody, please get home safely, stay safe, be well, and thank you once again for coming out to Sky Stage! Good night. The bar is still open, guys.